She used to smile when he walked into the room. Now she sighs, and not out of love. What happened? It's not bitterness. It's something far more practical. She remembers the first time she saw him across that crowded bar, the way he laughed, so freely as if the world hadn't yet carved into his shoulders. Back then, he had a spark in his eyes, ambition in his words, and a gentleness that made her feel like the only person in the room. Years passed, and the love did too, but not all at once. It faded in fractions. She didn't stop loving him because she wanted to. It happened so slowly that she barely noticed, until one day she looked at him and felt more like a roommate than a partner. And yet it wasn't that simple. Women don't just wake up and start disliking their husbands. It's a quiet buildup of practical things: unnoticed chores, emotional silence, mismatched growth, and the daily erosion of care. She was 29 when they married. He was 31. The early years were full of compromise and laughter. They navigated money problems with midnight walks, solved disagreements over coffee, and even when exhausted, found energy for each other. But something started changing around their late 30s. She noticed how often he seemed disengaged. He stopped asking about her day. The small talks they once loved became predictable, like a script they no longer cared to read from. He still loved her, in his own way. But love without attention, without curiosity, begins to feel like obligation. When the kids came, the shift deepened. She became a mother and he became distant. Not absent, he was there, physically, but emotionally, somewhere else. Maybe tired, maybe stressed, but she was tired too. She would wake up early to get the kids ready, pack lunches, fix breakfast, remind everyone of appointments. He'd roll out of bed 15 minutes later, grab coffee and scroll his phone. When she asked for help, he said, "Just tell me what you need." But she didn't want to be a manager. She wanted a partner. What most men don't realize is that women aren't asking for heroism. They're asking for presence. To see the overflowing laundry without being told. To notice that she's been quiet for days and ask why. To listen without solving. To sit beside her and say, "I see you." Over time, women start to feel invisible, not because men stop loving them, but because men forget to show it in ways that matter. And while men are often taught to express love through provision, women crave connection. A partner who makes her feel emotionally safe, heard, and seen. The irony is, he hasn't changed much. He still cracks the same jokes, still works hard, still remembers her birthday. But she has changed. Life forced her to. Motherhood, work, aging parents, emotional labor. It all matured her in ways he didn't notice. And one day she realized the man she married might not be the man she needs now. Not because he's terrible, but because he hasn't grown with her. Relationships demand evolution. She evolved. He stalled. So she began to feel resentment, not anger. Resentment is quieter. It's the sigh when she folds his socks again. The pause before answering his texts. The lack of interest when he mentions something from work. She doesn't dislike him because of a single event. It's the accumulation of emotional debt. Every time he chose comfort over conversation. Every time she cried quietly in the shower because she felt alone. Every time she said, "I'm fine," and he believed her. And here's the practical truth. Most women begin disliking their husbands not because of betrayal, but because of neglect. Silent neglect. Not intentional, not cruel. Just there, lingering like dust. It happens when men stop courting their wives emotionally, when they stop learning her as she changes, when they rely too heavily on the initial bond, forgetting that love is a muscle. It weakens without effort. And for many women, discontent doesn't come from outside temptations. It comes from watching themselves disappear inside a marriage that once made them feel whole. She started spending more time with her friends, finding pieces of herself in deep conversations, in laughter not centered around children or chores. She read books again, picked up hobbies, went on walks alone. And the more she returned to herself, the more she noticed how little of that self he truly knew anymore. She tried to bridge the gap, tried to share her world, but he was too busy, or tired, or distracted, so she stopped trying. And with that, the slow dislike began. The most dangerous part? She still respected him, still appreciated his good traits, But respect without emotional connection becomes duty, and no woman wants to feel like she's staying out of duty. The lack of connection chips away at intimacy, not just sexual, but emotional. She felt unseen in bed, not because he didn't desire her, but because he didn't see her, the person she became. And what about him? He doesn't understand what changed. He thinks they're just getting older. Thinks maybe she's just stressed. He doesn't realize he lost her not because of a fight, but because of 1,000 little silences, 1,000 ignored glances, 1,000 dismissed feelings. He misses the woman who laughed at his jokes, who hugged him from behind, who initiated conversations. He doesn't realize she stopped doing those things when she felt alone, not when she stopped loving him. Here's where it becomes a cycle. Her withdrawal makes him feel rejected. He retreats feeling unappreciated. She interprets that as further emotional distance. So she pulls back more. The dance continues. Both feel unseen, both feel hurt, but neither knows how to speak the other's language anymore. And with each year, the silent rift grows. And by their 40s or 50s, they're sitting across the dinner table, eating together, but feeling miles apart. The solution isn't grand gestures, it's intentional connection. It's asking, "How are you?" and waiting for the real answer. It's saying, "Tell me what's on your mind," without rushing the reply. It's noticing the haircut. It's remembering how she likes her coffee. It's doing the dishes without being asked. It's holding her even when she says she's fine. It's presence, daily presence. Women begin to dislike their husbands not because of who they are, but because of who they've stopped becoming. A man who once learned her favorite songs now doesn't know her favorite books. A man who once asked deep questions now says, "We talk all the time," when all they've discussed is bills and groceries. It's not that he's a bad man, he's just become background noise in her life. And no woman wants to feel that her partner is someone she outgrew. Men often ask, "What happened to us?" The better question is, when did I stop being curious about you? Because when curiosity ends, intimacy does too. And the worst part, this could have been prevented with small daily choices, with effort, with awareness, with listening, not just hearing, but really listening. Women fall out of love slowly, and they often don't even realize it until the gap feels too wide to fix. And yet, there is hope, because the same way the distance was built brick by brick, it can be dismantled. But it requires him to show up, not with flowers, but with open eyes, not with apologies, but with changed actions. He has to meet her where she is now, not where she was 10 years ago. She's evolved. She's deeper, wiser, maybe more tired, but also more herself. If he wants her to see him again, he must first truly see her. Because when a woman feels seen, she softens. When she feels heard, she opens. When she feels supported, she loves fiercely. But when she feels invisible, she closes. She protects herself. She retreats. Not because she wants to leave, but because staying feels lonelier. And so, over time, dislike sets in. Not hatred, just quiet disappointment. A sense of, this isn't what I signed up for. And that, practically speaking, is why so many women begin to dislike their husbands as they age. They're not angry, they're tired. Tired of managing everything. Tired of feeling like they're in this alone. Tired of being touched without being understood. Tired of talking without being heard. And eventually, tired turns into numbness. And numbness is the final stage before detachment. So if you're listening to this and wondering what to do, start by being present, not perfect, not poetic, just present. Ask her how she's really doing. Listen without fixing. Show up, grow with her, learn her again, because she's still there. She wants to be seen, and she's waiting for you to notice. Dislike doesn't begin with hate, it begins with absence. But presence can heal what silence broke. Start now.